Hi, and welcome to the Bruce Channel. I'm Bruce, and lots is on the table for today, but first, just to note it officially in the books, last week's Sunday newspaper, the solution to the jumble was moved to a different part of the page, so that'll run. Not to overstate it, but, I do manage from time to time to rail against this or that, but Monsanto is still in business, still making Roundup and glyphosate. Alex Jones still spews nonsense. Most of my railings, in fact, have no noticeable effect. But a win's a win, so we'll take it. What to take up next? World hunger. All right, so the president fires the investigator in early May. His staff says it's because of letters recommending that from the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General. 2 days later, the president admits on national television it wasn't because of a recommendation from the Justice Department. It was because James Comey would not agree to stop investigating the Russian allegations. So why nobody pays history attention? Why does no one pay attention to history is, I think, what I meant to say. Donald Trump says there's nothing there. I don't know if that's true, and neither probably do you. But history has shown that whether there is or isn't anything there, trying to stop investigations never stops investigations. So if there's nothing there, encourage the investigation, inasmuch as, if what you say is true, you're proven correct and you gain credibility. N'est-ce pas? Isn't it obviously so? So by firing Comey and saying it's because he wouldn't stop the investigation, wasn't it obvious to him that someone else will continue the investigation? So, like night follows day, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appoints a special counsel, and not just anybody. Former FBI Director Robert Mueller, who has served both Presidents Bush and Obama, and who everyone, both parties, thinks is upstanding, the most upstanding guy in the world. He's a Boy Scout, he's an Eagle Scout. When a corporation or an organization wants to show they're making a serious investigation, they call in Robert Mueller. And he's thorough. Several years ago, when the NFL was, we're trying, we want to see what's going on with concussions, and they wanted to show they were serious, so they asked Mueller to lead the investigation. He brings in his team, and they study, and they watch, and they observe, and they take notes, copious notes, copious notes. Here's his report, 96 pages. Did I say he was thorough? 5 of those pages were devoted exclusively to how they handle the mail that comes in the building, the mailroom, how it's handled and by whom. So by every account, he's a stand-up guy, so this should be good news for Donald Trump. By the way, I've heard and read Mueller referred to some as a special prosecutor, and even before his appointment, I've heard any number of lawmakers, particularly the Democrats, calling for a special prosecutor. There is no such position as special prosecutor, not anymore. The law that created special prosecutors expired some years ago. Mueller will be special counsel. He can question, he can subpoena, and he can issue a report. He reports exclusively to the Deputy AG, Rosenstein. Since Jeff Sessions had recused himself, he's only supervised by Rosenstein. Oh, if Donald Trump doesn't like the direction the investigation takes, he can't fire Mueller, technically. He can order the Deputy AG to fire him, and if he doesn't comply, he could fire the Deputy AG. But, that's pretty much what happened all those years ago. Richard Nixon ordered the Attorney General, Elliot Richardson, to fire Archibald Cox, the special prosecutor. Richardson had promised Congress he wouldn't interfere with the investigation, so on principle, he refused, and he resigned in protest. Nixon then ordered Deputy AG, William Ruckelshaus, to fire Cox, except he had promised Congress the same thing, so he resigned. So the president moved on. Next in line, Solicitor General Robert Bork. He ordered him to fire Cox. He hadn't made any promises to Congress, so he did fire him. I don't expect to have that history repeat itself, but it sure does feel as though we're living in. By the way, this is not true. It's not really a Chinese curse. It's just said to be, but may you live in interesting times. Yeah, boy. All right, a couple of anniversaries came and went, and I missed one owing to having been away. As I explained last week, that But the first one is easily the oldest. This past week, Wednesday, marked the 118th anniversary of the recovery of the Antikythera mechanism. What's that? It's pretty remarkable stuff, really. It was found under the sea off the Greek island of Antikythera aboard what's known as the Antikythera shipwreck. Understand it's been underwater a long time, estimates up to more than 2,000 years. So it was pretty grungy and corroded. Not easy to figure out what it does, but after they got it apart and cleaned it, it's a machine. It has gears. And when they studied the markings, they discovered that what this was a computer, a primitive computer. It could predict the motion of the stars, almost 2,000 years-ish ago. That's pretty cool. On May 6th, it was the 80th anniversary of the famous Hindenburg disaster. The German passenger airship, supposed to dock at the Naval Air Station in Lakehurst, New Jersey. You've seen this.
It's practically standing still now. They've dropped ropes out of the nose of the ship, and it's been taken a hold up down on the field by a number of men. The back motors of the ship are just holding it just enough to keep it. It bursts into flames. Wait, get it started. It's crashing terrible. Oh my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and it's falling on the mooring mast, and all the folks agree that this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's 400 or 500 feet into the sky. It's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the passengers screaming around.
Almost certainly you've seen that, and just over 80 years ago. And what's remarkable, there were 36 passengers and 61 crew aboard, a total of 97. But only 13 passengers and 22 crew died, and one ground crewman also died. And I say only, I don't mean to diminish it. It was awful. But if you watch that, and you know how many are aboard, it's not nearly what you'd expect, having seen the film. The final anniversary, 80 years ago, May 12th in 1932, that was the day they found the body of the Lindbergh baby. No one knows when he died exactly. Maybe within hours of being kidnapped. That was on March 1st, but that led to the first of many trials of the century, which found Bruno Richard Hauptmann guilty, and he was executed, and it was that crime that gave birth to what became known as the Lindbergh Law. Imagine this today. They found the baby's body on May 12th. The law becomes effective on June 22nd, just over a month for Congress to draft, pass, reconcile, and have the president sign it into law. It seems as though fiction, no?
Hey, let me tell you about my book, Shrink. For most of my adult life, I weighed a little over 100 pounds, not much more than in this picture taken when I was about 17 and considering becoming a jockey. But as is often true, once I crossed into my 40s, extra weight came, and it stayed. For years, I tried to lose, instead gained, and ended up 153 pounds. And I'm embarrassed to show you this video. Then I learned that it isn't about calories and exercise, but instead it's about what you eat. You might say, sure, ice cream makes you fat. But there were surprises, things like orange juice not being such a wise choice if you're trying to lose weight. So I just made some basic changes to what I ate, not how much, and the weight just fell off. Now, nearly 3 years later, it is still off. And don't misunderstand, I'm eating foods I like, not bamboo shoots. Friends ask me how I did it so often, I put it in a book. It's available as an ebook for all platforms, and the print edition is available at barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com. Hey, you can shrink too.
All right, so welcome back. A reminder, you can write to us at brucechannel@yahoo.com or, well, not or, you can't write us anywhere else. But you could also watch our previous shows. That's the or. You could watch our shows either at our Facebook page or at tinyorl.com. And at the latter, you can subscribe. You could encourage your friends to subscribe. You could encourage your friends to subscribe and encourage their friends to subscribe. All right, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a couple of notable passings. I always enjoy very much the work of Powers Booth, the actor. He had a remarkable voice. He knew how to use it in a variety of roles. He won an Emmy portraying the Reverend Jim Jones. That was the breakout role. That was the one that got him really established. He died in his sleep in Los Angeles a week ago Sunday. A week ago today, the day I post this. And that's just about 3 weeks from what would have been his 69th birthday. I'm going to miss Powers Boothe. And although I didn't know him and know nothing about him and know nothing about his music, a singer of apparently some note, Chris Cornell was found in his hotel room hanged just after performing in Detroit. And I've said this before, you don't know what's going on inside someone. Even if all looks well, you don't know what's going on. So be nice to others. Be kind. And I suppose I should mention that less than a year after he fell from grace, when he was exposed as groper-in-chief while CEO of Fox News, Roger Ailes died Thursday morning, just 3 days after turning 77. Okay, so a minute or so ago, there was this.
Let me tell you about my book, Shrink.
And I was telling you about a certain book. Let me tell you about a different book. The book's title is If, and it's a novel by Spencer Michaels. So first, a couple of full disclosures. Spencer Michaels is no relation, but I do know half of Spencer Michaels. I'll explain that in a moment. So if you go to Amazon, you can see the book, you can read the synopsis, you can read the reviews, and the reviews, almost all 5 stars. It's being compared to 2 books by Richard Matheson, 2 classics, both of which I like a lot. One is Bid Time Return and What Dreams May Come. You may recognize the title, What Dreams May Come. It was turned into a film starring Robin Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr. But you may or may not recognize Bid Time Return, but it too was turned into a film starring Christopher Reeve, Jane Seymour, Richard Plummer, called Somewhere in Time. Christopher Plummer, called Somewhere in Time, one of my favorite films of all time. So if reminds of them, that's pretty good company to keep. Oh, I say I know half of Spencer Michaels. I'm not revealing any secrets here because if you look at the author's biography at Amazon, you'll find both halves there. See, Spencer Michaels is a father-son writing team. Mike Bennington, whom I know, and his son, Spencer Bennington. Pretty cool, huh? So drift on over. If. Read the synopsis, give it a look-see. So there's a 21-acre parcel of land for sale not more than 10 minutes from my house, and it can be yours for under $3 million, 2.8. And it's not 21 acres of undeveloped land, which, even if it were, that's probably a good price, given that it ranks high in location. But take a look. I did not mislead, did I? It's gorgeous, isn't it? Seriously, what it is John Wesley University, right here in River City, right here in High Point. They announced they're selling because they want to move elsewhere in High Point, although I haven't yet found out where that is. Look, there are tracts of land around that you could buy, but I don't know where they could find anything as gorgeous. This is in a busy part of the city. There are stores, there's a main road, and yet the campus is itself rural. I've driven by the sign thousands of times. You can't see anything from the road. John Wesley College was founded in 1903. It's the oldest undergraduate theological education institution in all of North Carolina. It didn't adopt the name John Wesley College until 1956. And then I don't understand this briefly. Beginning in 2011, it changed its name to Laurel University, but it reverted 4 years later to John Wesley University. So what do you think? I think it's a steal. I double-checked 2 different sources. Both said 2.8 million, but I think that might be a misprint. Really? 21 acres, all of those buildings? Don't you think it would be 28 million? On the other hand, if it is 2.8 million, I should be able to get a mortgage on that, and then get a reverse mortgage on that, and live in style the rest of my days. I might even open a university. We could call it the Bruce College. It's been a while since we visited BLR, Bad Lip Reading, and there are several new ones to take a look at. I'm not going to spoil them, but I simply must show you a couple of quickies from Inauguration Day.
Oh, surprise! I have some pretzels for you.
Oh, you're cheery.
I'm always like this.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You're certainly not going to be.
When can I see
You're
you
bad
walk
company.
away? Can't wait.
Are you wearing a big boy shirt?
Yeah, I probably never will again.
No music, just me. You know what I want later? A hamburger and milk duds. Just remember who brought you here.
Thank you, my prince. Thank you.
You know, you might want to clean my car after this.
Now I really wouldn't call it yours, right? Because you gotta go back to the Jetta. Pretty dorky.
I encourage you to go to their vids on their YouTube channel. Bad Lip Reading. You'll find it. You can find out. You can subscribe. You can subscribe just like you can subscribe to the Bruce channel, which, yeah, we're just like each other. Except BLR has over 6 million subscribers. Other than that, we're the same. All right, in a span of only a couple of days, I went from being blissfully ignorant to knowing more than I cared to about fidget spinners. They're promoted as though they help kids with autism or ADHD, but there is no science behind that. There's no study. They were first made in the 90s, but in the last weeks, months, one teacher said no one had them one day, and within 2 days, everybody had them. And God help us, I'm not making this up, there is now an app for a fidget spinner. I will say this, a fidget spinner app has an enormous advantage over a fidget spinner reel. The app can't be swallowed, as happened to a 10-year-old Texas girl. So, what app is coming next? The Pet Rock app. All right, finally at my deadline, I don't know who won the Preakness Stakes, so I don't know if we have a Triple Crown candidate this year or not. But yes, to that note of that, in 3 weeks, they will gather at Belmont Park to run the Belmont Stakes. That's the really grueling one of the three. The Derby's 1.25 miles. The Preakness is 1 3/16 miles, but the Belmont is 1.5 miles. That's a long way to go. All right, so upcoming this week, tomorrow, Sherlock Holmes Day, really, which is nicely timed because, you know, the new season of Sherlock just showed up on Netflix this past week. Wednesday, the 24th, is Escargot Day. I kind of like escargot. I remember the first time I tried, and I had to get past the, the yuck factor, but I did get past it, and it taught me the value of trying something outside of my comfort zone. Oh, Wednesday is also Tiara Day. There's only so far I'll go outside of my comfort zone. I'm not trying on a tiara. Oh, glasses up on Thursday. It is Wine Day, and Friday is World Lindy Hop Day. Seriously, World Lindy Hop Day. So with all of that, how could your upcoming week not be the best you've ever had?